fundamentally, there's one big problem. Big problem. And this problem is having this thing called mind. It'd be so nice if you had this flower, I don't know, or this carpet. Somebody walk over it, doesn't matter. We all leave this carpet behind, it doesn't feel sort of ignored or left behind. Put this in the shop and put a price tag and doesn't feel abused. You know what I mean? So we have this thing called mind. It's just so painful. It just keeps on thinking something, knowing something, cognizing something. I can sort of have some sympathy to those who want to hang themselves, commit suicide. I think they think that they reach to they can switch it off. No, it's just so painful, this mind keeps on thinking something. And then, of course, all the other things that helps to think doesn't help. As soon as this mind see this sign in your Instagram, you are happy. Stuff like that, just mind is so painful. But this mind is also supposedly, like Saraha said, Rinchen, it's like a Rinpoche, like a jewel. Rinchen no risamla chatsalo, like I prostrate to the mind that is like a jewel. So it's also, I guess, very precious, and it's such a blessing that we have a mind. So as long as there's a mind, I guess there is going to be something called journey, path, a goal, and path to that goal, and a technique, technique to dwell on that path so that one will not go astray, and challenges, and then of course again the technique to how to overcome these challenges. So as long as you have that, I guess there's also when you have the path, this also means there's something called path dweller. And a path dweller means, I guess, you are not perfect yet. So thinking this, last night I was thinking, what am I supposed to say here today? So I thought maybe I will talk about sort of a very brief introduction on the path of the Buddha. To talk about the path of the Buddha, I think it would be easier if you can understand it by making few categories. The first, and I guess the most important, is what is the profit? The result, so to speak. What do we get? What is it in it for us? And so that's one. And then I guess we need to talk about how to get that result. So to do that, I think we can talk about sort of two things. One is more like how to Gompa meditation. I think meditation is overly used word, but okay, let's call it meditation. And then together with this meditation, japa, behavior, sort of action, japa, behavior, sort of action,
conduite,
conduite. Yeah. So so we have the result, meditation, and the action, but all all these, result, meditation and action, all this need to be based on a certain view. That's the most important. And traditionally, we are supposed to spend so most of your time trying to really establish this view. Well, depending on what kind of person you are, you could get that, you could really see that view instantly, if you have that kind of faculty. But most of us we don't have that kind of faculty. So first of all, we try to sort of establish this view through hearing, contemplation, more on an intellectual way. But the intellectual approach to the view is, even though you may have a little sort of a conviction or confidence on that view intellectually, because we have something called mind, remember, habit, we keep on forgetting it. So it's like, even though you intellectually know smoking is not good, you just, when you see somebody smoking with all that ritual, you just fall for it. Even the most vivid warning on the cigarette boxes doesn't really help. You don't even see it. So so we establish the view through something called meditation. But anyway, the view is very, very important. And I think that is something that, if you are interested in following the Buddha, I think this is something that you should really spend time. And how do we do it? The best way, I know, the best way is something that most of so-called intellectual, critical people may not like. But best way is actually prayer. Best way is pray to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And it makes sense. Because in the prayer, there's something to do with the longing. Prayer is something to do with the longing, So, when you have a longing to something particular, like when I'm longing for a white rose, desperately, then I will not think about marigold too much. But right now there's so many marigold coming in, so no rose. So the best way is prayers. And this is not only me talking like this. Even the most critical men, one of the most critical men, Chandrakirti, said this. When someone asked him, to whom should we teach shunyata? He didn't say someone who finished PhD in Sorbonne University. He didn't say that. He said instead, we should teach shunyata to those who, by the moment you utter the word shunyata, they have goosebumps, they have tears in their eyes. To them shunyata should be taught. Okay. Anyway, as I said earlier, most of us, including me, don't really trust the prayers. Our so-called skeptical mind, the skepticism that we have is just it's so crippled, and it's muted. It's our skepticism is muted by our logic. It's really strange, isn't it? Our skepticism is not good. The best skeptical people are these tantric yogis, practitioners. They're the real skeptic. So, first of all, we don't trust the prayers. And if you do trust prayers in general, you don't trust your prayer. And then even if you do sort of trust the prayer and your prayer, there's also a little bit of, like our prayer is sort of hindered by all this sort of theistic, sort of external, internal, subjective, objective. It becomes too complicated. So then, that's why Maitreya said again and again, not just Maitreya, many people need to what do you call it, study, hear and contemplate. And discipline is necessary. Discipline is like the ground. Yes, so, like a vegan is important. This kind of discipline. I'm serious, I'm not, like trying to make up, So there are many teachings. I could almost say more than 50% of the teachings of the Buddha, and probably much more, is to establish the view. Okay? Now, I'm sure some of you, those who are new, probably by now thinking, what view is he talking about? Well, I will just spit it out. All compounded things are impermanent, and all emotions are pain. These two are more a relative view, and all things are inherently non-existent, and nirvana is beyond concept or extreme. So basically these two are the more ultimate view. Now I know I've been talking with Jimmy Khyentse Rinpoche. Even though sort of it is there, in the philosophical, I think it's there, but the distinctions of relative truth and ultimate truth, like, this kind of distinctions seems really not in the Western philosophy or science or... I don't... that's an important one. And this is also something that those who are serious in studying Buddhism should explore a little bit. Just briefly, I will tell you. I don't know, maybe this is not the best example, but let's try. Paradox. You can say Buddhist philosophy is really a path to appreciate the paradox and how to really apply the understanding of paradoxy in our life. This is actually a bit of a Buddhist logic thing talking about now. Fundamentally, we always think something is real. And it's very strange. When we think something is real, many times there are many reasons why it is real. For instance, like the sun. Sun is a real sun because, we all see it. That's like a consensus. Sort of a democracy, kind of. Or, this hall, let's go to this hall. In Paraguay, that hall, this place, that, sort of, it has been existing for some time. That also helps something is real. Like, your citizen card have a birth date. That helps to prove you exist. It's a bit like this. Sometimes, it's quite strange. Sometimes, when things are opposite, but actually it's a seemingly opposite, but actually, because it's opposite, it helps to think that it's real. So for instance, like, basically I'm talking about, it's there, but it's not there. The face that you saw in the mirror for past 56 years, never once you experience suddenly a baboon with a banana cane. You understand? So it exists, but it's also not there. It's there, but it's not there. Like a rainbow. It's there, but it's not there. By the way, some of this we appreciate. Like if you are watching a movie, and it's a really good movie, romantic, suspenseful, you are crying, you are getting scared, all of this. But if your bladder is full, you just stop and go to the toilet. So you know it's there, but it's not there. Yeah. Some of the things we know these things. And not only we have that kind of wisdom, we also have that kind of high class compassion. Like if you are a mother playing with a child, building a sand castle, and involve, this is the door, this is the window, this is where, all that, but, for the sake of the child, but you also know it's not really castle. So, but you play, you get along. So in a very, very good compassion. Now, Buddhism, I will say, is probably the best in explaining this paradox. Because what Buddhists are saying is all of this, even us talking here right now, is there but is not there. And I was talking with one of my Indian friends, we were talking about this, and he was saying he doesn't know how much West, even though the West has the word paradox, how much are they really understanding the meaning of this and really living with it? And you may ask, okay, why should we know this? Do you want a magic or not? Paradox creates magic. It's so good. If you can understand and appreciate and play with it, it's a magical. If you don't understand this, then magic is just a trick. Yeah, then the trick is a sort of lower class magic, right? This is why I think people like taking hallucinogenic stuff, I think. Because, for a little bit of time, you feel this so strange. Recently I took a little bit of hallucinogenic mushroom, and then I was digging my teeth with a toothpick, and I'm sure only a very little wood went inside my mouth, right? So I felt like there was like a train going in. And I was like laughing, it's so strange, this wood going in my mouth. Yeah. So this four thing I was talking earlier, the 4C, let's call it, it's a really very profound way of understanding this paradoxy.
Something like that,
yeah. We were just talking about how when we talk of paradox, it seems like it's two things that are seemingly opposite but not. But actually in Buddhism, like Heart Sutra, there's a 4. Form is emptiness, form is not other than emptiness is not other than a form. 4, not just para. This is why the understanding and appreciating that paradox is really, this is why in Buddhism everything is acceptable. When earlier Rinpoche was giving me something, on rice and all that, you have seen. He was giving me the whole universe on a small plate. And he was giving me things like wish-fulfilling cow. But because of paradox, I don't have to worry about where to put this cow. So all this seemingly very ritualistic prayers, all this, it is acceptable. Yeah, so this is, I think, quite important. It's not some sort of intellectual philosophy that deconstruct everything, wear a berry and chew a big cigar and drink thick coffee and think about it and do nothing and die with an existentialist angst. Okay. So that's view now, sort of, very, very briefly. Okay, that's the view. Okay, let's jump to the result. So we are talking about a view, tawa, gompa, meditation, chepa, conduct,
Conduite, yeah.
conduit, and result. Now the result. So when we talk about the Buddhist path, obviously we are talking about the end, the result, the profit, what you get. Now this is so important. You need to know this. You should not forget this. Tattoo it on your, body if you need to. This is an important thing. Buddhists in general, Buddhists never have something to get. No, not at all. No. The result is, it's called, remember, we talked about this, now it's all coming back. Somehow you have all the settings brought back all the memory of those Uttaratantra days. Remember we were talking about, we miss Jara.
Yes.
And, the big-breasted nun. All this. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. I have to be really careful these days. My God. Okay. Anyway. Result is a dande. Dande means, elimination. Result is always, the label result is given to something that is an absent, eliminating. For instance, even the word Buddha, Sang, it's elimination, awaken. It's not like getting something. That's really important. You are not getting anything new. You are eliminating the temporary, illusory defilements. I've said two things, temporary and illusory. Both are important. Not only defilements are temporary, you should know that. Especially French. They're the moodiest people. Morning they have one mood, evening they have another mood. I'm sorry. This is my habit of trying to annoy people. But what I mean is, no mood stays forever. Of course, they continue, sort of, seemingly, but they don't stay. This is a really good news, The defilements are temporary. It's a really good news. You should really, that's a really important message. You need to write it down somewhere, that one on your maybe left leg. And then, on your right arm now, defilements are illusory. Not only they are temporary, even when they are coming temporarily, while they are coming, they are illusion. This is important. Anyway, so that's sort of the result. Let's consider weeping. These are, I'm just touching here and there a little bit. This is a very big subject. We need to study a long time, these things. Okay, so that's the result. Now, view finish. Okay, Gomba, meditation. Okay, meditation now. Okay, so I've already talked about the Buddhist view, Buddhist result. Now I'm talking about the Buddhist meditation. But there's a problem here. Because the moment the word meditation is used, you're already thinking about this, or a cushion or something like this. Not really true. Any kind of exercise or a training that will go against clinging that something is true, that is what has to be, if you want, that is the essence of the Buddhist meditation, has to be that. Eventually, fundamentally, it has to be this. The meditation should not be to calm your mind.
La méditation,
that's not the purpose. Of course, it's not for good sleep or good management. For good sleep, good management, stress-free, all of this, no need Buddhist meditation. There I can suggest many apps. There's some apps really good, I think they're not bad. But bear in mind, they will not really get rid of all the stress. Just the fear of being distracted alone will create a lot of constipation. But for the beginners, I think it's good. But if you are asking me what is the Buddhist meditation, samadhi, I thought Buddhist samadhi, dhyan, then what I just said, that it has to go against the clinging to something as true. Do you know why? Because it's related to the view. Remember the paradox? Because if your meditation is not going to that, not going against that, then you are not understanding the paradox. I think this will do, for now.
Bon, ça ira comme
meditation,
ça.
That's Buddhist meditation. It has to, but it's a very vast, it's really vast. Shantadeva even teach us how to wash our hand. It's all related to this, all towards this, because all these has to bring it has to be assisting the coming of wisdom, has to. Otherwise, why would Shantadeva care how you wash your hand? What else he said? How to point direction to somebody. So that's it. Now what do we have? Oh, behavior, right. Okay, behavior should not be extreme. Well, even in the historically, there's the Buddha with the 6 years penance and then taking the milk and all that story. Haven't you ever wondered why Buddhists can accept this shaved head people and yogis who have dreadlock? Why they're equally there? Why they're like monks like Shariputra and then lay person like Avalokiteshvara? Totally different. This Shariputra has a begging bowl. Very, very, austere. Avalokiteshvara is very rich. 1 earring can buy maybe the whole Paris. Haven't you ever wondered why those two? Why there's this? There's no like all Buddhists must wear socks. There's none. Or a Buddhist must not eat chicken. There's no blanket like that. Again, going back to paradoxy, understanding of paradoxy, remember? So, for instance, like non-violence, like a non-violence, like understanding of non-violence to yourself and to others. And then, if you are talking about something like a Tantrayana, Tantra is the one who really understands what is non-violence. Tantra doesn't look at emotion as enemy. That's the highest non-violence. So on and so forth. So, well, all of these makes Buddhism in one way, very complicated, because it's very difficult to simplify, and But it's really custom made for modern people. What is modern? What is it? Avant-garde, right? Always like thinking forward, not getting stuck with a system. Well, if you want that, then you should really explore these 4 things I was talking earlier. But this is Buddhism. Then there's Buddhist. Not all Buddhists are good. That's why there's not even a single prayer in whole Buddhism may all become Buddhist. None. We all pray that everybody become awakened. Some Buddhists are terrible. This you need to know. But I understand human beings, because the Buddhists are tangible, so the behavior of a Buddhist could ruin Buddhism too. Just like communists ruins communism.
Alors en fait, parce que justement, il y a quelque chose de tangible dans un bouddhiste, le comportement des bouddhistes pourrait complètement détruire le bouddhisme de la même manière que le comportement des communistes